Gosh, I just love that music. It's so fun. Well, welcome back to the Everyday Inspired online show where you get fulfillment in love, body, and motivation. And I would like to introduce Deborah Luckovich. So, Deborah, Dr. Deborah, first of all, Dr. Deborah, I love that, is a writer, coach, and speaker. She's a midlife unraveling research research on women, sex, and God, and moving to a beach town forced a reunion with a buried and creative part of herself. Her writing offers equal parts entertainment and healing. She is working to publish her memoir, When Sex Meets God, and her research on women's experience of reconciling sexuality and spirituality. Oh, that's beautiful. Deborah's writing makes space for conversation about topics that are difficult or embarrassing to talk about, with depth and often humor. Her posts and stories are inspired by her most awkward, intense, and meaningful experiences. What I'm hearing is that you love to bring out your total authenticity. I love that. Thank you so much, Deborah. You're going to be talking about Unleash Your Soul's Hidden Agenda, learning the language of the unconscious. Wow, that's powerful. Welcome.
Thank you, Crystal. You are like a glowing angel. You look so pretty. And I agree about the music during the break. That was amazing.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I first, like, I was just sitting here just receiving. Like, I just felt like, okay, it was just perfect. So I have a screen I want to share. And I always get nervous when I do that. Oh,
Okay.
can I share my screen?
Yeah, you should be able to now.
All right. And where am I? Oops. I don't want to share that. I'm sorry. I always screw this up.
I don't know. That's a good one. We love technology.
Oh, gosh. Where is it? There we go. Okay. All right. Can everybody see that?
I'm still seeing an iceberg.
Okay. How about that?
I'm still seeing an iceberg.
All right. Let me try it all over again then. Okay. So there it is.
Okay.
Are we seeing it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. This time, at least I didn't start sweating when it was taking me a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, which is what I usually do. So, so Crystal, thank you very much for having me and inviting me into this space. This is what I want to talk about. And I love the image of the iceberg. Many of you may already understand it to sort of be this symbol, symbolic of what we think we know about ourselves is really just this tiny part of what we actually know about ourselves. So I love the quote, it's really the unconscious that's in charge. 95% of, what you think you know and why you like certain people and don't like other people and why you're drawn and, attracted to others. You really don't know the core or the root reason. And I remember I had a moment when I was studying depth psychology where all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I know the true motivation for anything. And it scared me. It was kind of a crisis because when you think you know why you're making a decision, but then you find out later, oh, that's why I did that. And I remember the moment I figured out why I married my husband of 24 years. He's not my husband anymore, but I mean, I did love this man, but I thought I married him for a different, I thought I knew why I married him. And in the end, it had to do with safety. So depth psychology is my field. And a lot of people don't realize that the root of psychology is soul. It's not brain, it's soul. And C.G. Jung, one of the founders and fathers of depth psychology, has a lot of theories, but his overarching theory is that our psyche, which is our conscious and our conscious, that what is going on is that we are always trying to resolve conflict, inner turmoil between this or that, sort of these opposing forces. And the opposing forces can be internal and they can be internal and external. And so there's always this sort of war going on. And people who consciously reflect about this are sort of individuating. So we had another theory called individuation, which is consciously and wanting to dig into what are these inner battles that are going on internally and with the outside world. So one thing I pose to all of you are, what are the wars that are happening within you or within you and another person or within you and convention? And when we reconcile these opposing forces, and oftentimes we'll come down on the side of one and exclude another, when we're able to actually manage the tension and hold the tension between those 2 points of view, that's when healing occurs and that's when growth occurs. And so again, what opposing forces are waging battle in your conscious? For women, often it has to do with love and relationships and gender assignment and gender roles and careers and passion versus purpose and money versus passion and sexuality and religion and sexuality. And the language of the unconscious or the psyche and soul is not the language of the intellect. So even when we attend virtual events, for example, we do a lot of talking and we do a lot of listening, and the lens through which we're taking things in is usually here. And so at the end of this really quick slide presentation, I want to offer you an experience, an opportunity to tap into your unconscious through the body. But the unconscious speaks to us through experiences and images and dreams and emotional reactions and obsessions to Netflix series and coincidences and awkward, embarrassing fantasies that come up that we're like, oh my God, why did I just think about that? And being swept up and merging with a lover, and our body's aches and pains and even anxiety and depression are ways that our soul speaks to us. And so instead of wanting that to go away, really we want to ask, like, what do you want from me? Anxiety, depression. What is my injury? The fact that I fell down the steps twice in 2 weeks in the same way. What that happened to me. What do you want from me? What are you trying to say to me? And then the other thing to sort of concept is that we're very masculine oriented in our society. Masculine not being men, but masculine being one-sidedly intellectual, linear, goal-oriented, purpose-driven. And the unconscious is the realm of the feminine, which is mystery and paradox, and it's ambiguous, and we require patience, and it's strategic. And in order to go there, you have to be able to feel awkward and vulnerable. And in our society, we don't like that. We want to feel safe. That's why we have to know. But if we really want to come into the deeper part of us, we need to embrace this. So really quickly, my battle had to do with spirituality and sexuality. And I had a very powerful experience, which I'm writing about in my memoir. And real quickly, this is, sort of a way to look at the feminine. And it is about birth and death and rebirth and relatedness and being receptive, not passive though. Being receptive is a choice. And earth and matter and nature and the body and soul and wisdom and interconnectedness and the moon and moist and juicy. Those are ways to think about feminine consciousness. And the masculine is more spirit oriented, heaven, intellectual, reason, linear. And that both of these, yin and yang, sort of exist. And when we're too one-sided, then whatever we sort of repress will come out either culturally as extremes or personally as very destructive forces. So that's why right now is an opportunity to really embrace the feminine. It's coming out anyway. I mean, you can see it in all sorts of places, but you can either like fight it or be like, okay, bring it on. So, you know, and again, my inner battle had to do with coming of age in the 80s, where there were these mixed messages of, yes, I can do more as a woman, but no, you're a family wrecker if you do that. Yes, I can have sex. No, you're a whore. Like this, oh my gosh, this lived in me, and it hid in me through my 24-year marriage. And then when I knew I was getting divorced, all these complexes came up, all this stuff came up, and against my will, I was put into situations that really forced me to have this reconciliation. It's a really beautiful story. The other thing that I would say is there's a lot of myths about patriarchy. Patriarchy did not emerge as a natural evolutionary urge at all. It really, this origins were in very harsh climates that caused a lot of trauma. And eventually when those people who lived in a scarcity mindset migrated, they forced this sort of mentality onto more peaceful partnership-oriented societies. And the new theories really show that the emergence of love and sexual attraction really are our evolutionary forces that are meant to help us increase our consciousness. So I throw that in there. Reconnecting with the feminine requires reconnecting with what was once denigrated, the body, nature, sexuality, things like that. And also I write a lot about in my blog about sexuality is not always about literal sex, that there's a whole symbolic world around what does sexual attraction want from me. Sometimes it's creative in nature. And so we don't have a framework in our society for how to talk about sexual attraction in a way that doesn't make us go and assume that it's about sex. And reconnecting with the feminine also requires submission to your inner being, submission to yourself. So I mentioned the language of the psyche is the image, visual, emotional, somatic, movement, other sensory experiences. So not just visual, but image, like anything that you can't put here in your brain. That's pretty much the feminine. And one particular way our body or our soul speaks to us is through our body. So this is where I wanted to get to. So you have sort of an experiential opportunity, is an opportunity to enter your unconsciousness through the body and to find the metaphor or the symbolism in your experience that then you can work with. And my goal is to have a little time that one of you will want to share your experience and that we can have a little back and forth and I can show you how to tend to those images. Does that sound good to everybody? Okay, great. So we're going to begin by, okay, lots of time. What I would love to do is have everybody stay on video if you're comfortable doing that, but I am going to ask you to close your eyes if you feel safe and if you're comfortable doing that. And you might have been doing this all through the day, but really just focusing on your breath and breathing in a big belly breath. And a little piece of trivia, people who do not take breath in all the way down to their belly increase their risk of heart attack, actually. So breathing down into your belly is actually really important. And at yoga class, I've been learning how to sigh. So instead of just breathing out through the nose, that's too controlling. Just feel free once you take that breath in to sigh it out and make a noise if you want to. And you won't believe, I've been doing this during the day now. I just, my intuition is like, all of a sudden I'll take in a big breath and go, ah. And I have presence. Like I can't do it meditating, but the breath helps me be present. So do that a couple of times. And then just so you know what I'm going to do, it's an elevator exercise. So now you can turn around and do this with somebody else. I'm going to guide you through getting into an elevator that will go to a part of your body. So you may already know where you want it to go. It could be an injury. It could be a place that you have like a really difficult emotional relationship with. Like for me, it's my stomach. Or you're just going to let it go. Your imagination is actually, that's your unconscious talking to you. And then we're just going to go visit. We're going to walk around and we're going to see what happens. And then at some point when you're ready, I'm going to guide you back into the elevator. We're going to come up, and then we're going to talk about, one of you hopefully will be willing to share what your experience is. And then we're going to talk about the images and finding the metaphor and the symbolism in the images. So if you're feeling relaxed and you got enough sighs out and your eyes are closed, we will begin by you letting an image of an elevator door come up. And really just be curious about what the door looks like and where you might be. You might be in a hallway of a hotel that's really beautiful. You might be in an office building. You might be wherever, I don't know. And just noticing the elevator door. And it may already be open, but you might have to walk and press a button. So if you need to go press a button, go ahead and do that. The door might open right away, or you might have to wait. So kind of notice that. The door opens and you walk in. And again, notice what does it look like inside? Have you been in this elevator before? Is it familiar, or is it really new? And press a button if you need to, or maybe it's already going up or down. There may be numbers on the buttons. There may not be. They may be colorful. So just let your imagination take you and press a button. Your elevator may go great distance and may go so fast that you feel like you're on a roller coaster, or it may be one of those old clunky elevators that takes forever to go one floor. So just notice. And when it stops, wait for the doors to open, or who knows, maybe you have to like jiggle that button so they open. And then walk out of the elevator and notice how you feel first. Do you feel safe? Do you feel okay? Maybe look around and again, see, where did this elevator take you? Now you may see a particular body part literally, or you may have been taken to another realm where you don't actually see a body part. So, but we are taking this elevator inside you, inside your body. So notice if you can recognize where you are in the body and how you feel. And then if you feel okay about it, walk around, take a little tour and see where you want to go. And see, is it light? Is it darker? Are there shapes? What are the colors? Are you intrigued by something and there's like a little tunnel or a path? Or is it a big room? Or is it squishy? What's the temperature like? What is the humidity like? And really just go where your imagination takes you. And it may take you on quite a journey, or it may just take you to just a feeling, and there is no movement. So don't force yourself to do anything. Do what you want to do. And I'll just stop talking for a little bit as you meander or run, whatever you feel like doing. If you feel that you've gotten to explore enough, you may want to head back, or perhaps it's brought you back in a circular sort of way. And if you're feeling ready, because we could do this for a longer period of time. Meander back to your elevator. And doors may be open. You may need to press that button to open them up. Note how you're feeling about it. Like, I don't want to go, or I can't wait to get out of here. And enter the elevator. And doors close. And note which direction maybe it's going, or maybe it doesn't even move and the doors open and boom, you're back, like you're teleported. And when you get to the return place, allow the doors to open and walk out. And then settle back into your literal seat. So for me, it took me a long time to be open to my imagination. I have a very strong defensive ego, or did. So it took me a really long time to be like, oh, they're coming, the images, yay, they're coming. I used to have to wait a long time. Others are just like, boom, 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 boom. They have amazing experiences. So now is the time where we tend to our experience. And by doing it with one of you, you all will get an example of sort of how to ask questions, which is basically what we're doing. So who would like to volunteer to sort of tend our experience? Virginia. Okay, if you want to unmute yourself.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
I can.
Great. Hi.
Hi. If you would like to just start by sharing with us your experience.
Sure. I started in the lobby of a luxury hotel.
Oh.
And there was a man at the elevator. I didn't even have to push any buttons. He asked me if I wanted to get in. I said, yes. I went in. There was another concierge at the controls of the elevator. Asked me where I wanted to go. I said, down to my stomach. So he smiled, pushed the button. When we got there, he said, you're here. So I walked out and I was outside my stomach. And anywhere I walked, it didn't matter because I had like a crystal platform underneath me.
Ooh.
And so then I went over to my stomach and I noticed that it was tense. So then I just put my arms out and sent it golden light and healing energy as I walked around, and I could feel it starting to relax. Then basically it thanked me and told me I had enough. And then the elevator turned into a TARDIS, you know, from Doctor Who.
Hmm.
And it appeared when I needed it. I opened the door, walked in, boop, and left.
That's beautiful. So there are so many images in there. I think.
Hey, Deborah, 1 second.
Pardon?
Could you just quit sharing the screen so we can see you all? Awesome. Thank you.
Good. Okay. I love that your stomach said thank you. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, I do a lot of body work and I do a lot of somatic work with my clients. And part of it is the importance of gratitude.
Yeah.
Connecting with our bodies and listening to what they would like from us.
I really love that because often with my clients, we'll talk about our inner child, right? Forgotten. And really, she just wants to be remembered.
Right.
And it is really the same, like our body is just a manifestation of energy. And so that's the first time that has come up. That's why I'm like, that's really powerful that your stomach.
Don't you find that when we're doing our meditations, if we remember to ask,
yes,
what do you need from me right now?
Yes, exactly. Right. Like I was saying, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, anxiety, what do you want from me? As opposed to, oh, this is uncomfortable. And I often also encourage people to personify. So if it's easy to like, my anxiety reminds me of Aunt whatever. Okay, Aunt whatever. Like it makes it easier to talk. I really love the image of luxury. So I'm curious about that. That has never come up with, for anybody else either. Like, you're like, you got dudes working for you. So like, were you surprised about that?
No, but I have done a lot of work on myself. You know, a few years ago, it wouldn't have been that. But
Okay.
now I realized that, yeah, life can be easy. And so then when I go into these, it's what do I need to make my life easy at this moment? What would I like? And so this idea of a luxury hotel came up. I thought, oh yeah, this feels really good.
I love it. And the other thing that I love are the concierge and the doormen they're men. So one way we can look at men is we can sort of look at them as our ego or our ability to sort of use our intellect and analyze while we're actually in that experience, which we can't always do. So the feminine and the masculine partner, but the masculine and the ego have to sort of let go a little bit and trust, right? And you know this. So trust that you can have this uncomfortable, awkward experience, and then you will call on the masculine and your ego to help you sort of interpret it and analyze, which is what we're doing right now. So for me, I just feel like, you know, like you said, you've done so much work that you knew that that was with you. Like those figures were with you, which also allowed you to be free, free in your experience as well.
What I thought was interesting also, with that the men were the concierge, so they were doing the physical work, like the vehicle. They were a vehicle, but I was the one who had the power myself with the feminine to do the healing part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So they were basically just assistant.
Yes, it's beautiful. So for the rest of you, when you go tend your experience, what you want to pull out are the images. So I wrote down luxury, because the way you said that, concierge, you know, doing the work for you, the crystal platform, we didn't even talk about that. And you want to pull out these images. The other things that are images are how you feel. Were you tense? So you mentioned tense, and then you reacted to that by, you know, sharing golden light or that sort of thing. And gold is a treasure, you know, so the treasure is in these awkward experiences. So pulling out those images and then making associations. So when I think of Crystal Ledge, it makes me think of this. Go back to the image, not like a serial association. They'll always go back to the image. That makes me think of, back to the image. That makes me think of. And to do this exercise with all these images, really crazy things will come up. And then you may have a new image. And then you ask questions. Where is this in my life? So you're looking for the metaphor, because the unconscious speaks in this language that is not a literal linear language. It's much more powerful. It speaks in paradox also, where two things can be true. And in our society, people have a hard time with this and this. It's always this or this but this. No, this and this. So there's a lot of paradox. So that's why you want to stay focused on the image. So I know that we're out of time. I hope that that this was a little taste of how we're up here all the time. Even when we're doing, you know, sort of unconscious work, we still tend to like filter it through our brain and don't take enough opportunity to work with these images. And the body is like a really direct route to your unconscious and your soul. So I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you very much. It was really interesting. Yeah, I did.
Thank you, Deborah, for that so much. Would you like to quickly just talk a little bit about your free gift? And yeah, you're right. We're at time.
Yep. Really quickly. I love having conversation, meaningful conversation, and it could be over phone or Zoom or even email if you're shy about it. So if you've got like a bunch of questions or you would like to actually tend this experience with me, a half-hour call, I would love it. And also I have a resource piece on my website, deborahlukovich.com, and it says resources, and it's just a one sheet with guidelines about how to work with images. So that might be helpful for you too, because I didn't really provide instruction on that. So.
Great. Thank you so very much. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll see you in like a half an hour.
I have to go pick up my sister from the airport.
Okay, great.
So I don't know how long that's going on. If I get back, maybe I can hop back on, but
it's from 11:30 to 12, so it's
okay.
30 minutes. But
Okay.
yeah, if you make it back, great. If not, thank you so much. I feel like we need to have another session, only longer.
Let's do it. Yeah, I would love it. I love doing it. I love talking about this stuff, and I like interacting with people. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.